will be a cold winter, literally, in Kyiv, Ukraine. In the past few months, Ukraine went from the moral issue of our time to now a political loser. And yet the White House says we must give the country more money. Per the Wall Street Journal, the White House warns, quote, without additional money, the U.S. won't have the necessary resources to procure additional weapons and equipment for Ukraine or to provide resources from existing U.S. military stockpiles. U.S. military stockpiles are now dwindling. If that isn't clear enough, here is the president's national security advisor, Jake Sullivan.
A vote against supporting Ukraine is a vote to improve Putin's strategic position. That's just an inescapable reality. That's not speaking to someone's motive, why they chose to vote against it. That's just speaking to the outcome of their vote. A vote against supplemental funding for Ukraine will hurt Ukraine and help Russia.
The problem is nobody cares. Ukraine is a loser politically, and it's not doing that much better on the battlefield against Vladimir Putin. 18 months ago, senators and congressmen wore American Ukraine flag pins to show support. Now the Senate's most hawkish Republican and dovish Democrat have had enough.
I am deeply concerned that this legislation has no investments to address the needs of working families in the United States.
I will not vote for any aid until we secure our own border. Reform asylum, reform parole is possible to do. Democrats don't want to do it. All Republicans want to do it. I'm not helping Ukraine until we help ourselves.
With us now, White House columnist for our partners at The Hill here in Alabama to cover the debate, Niall Stanage. Niall, it's good to see you. How did this issue morph so drastically in 18 months?
I think one reason was the reason alluded to by the two senators there, the need for more spending or at least other priorities at home. But the second point, Leland, is if you're asking taxpayers for that enormous amount of money, you have to answer some pretty basic questions. Will there be an end to it? What's the plan to achieve victory? Is there any evidence that that victory can be achieved? There aren't convincing answers to any of those questions.
And is it working? The White House staked so much of their foreign policy agenda for their first term on supporting Ukraine unconditionally, and as you point out, without a articulable goal or a way to bring this to an end. Do you think they regret perhaps going so far all in so quickly?
I think they feel they had to do that. And as you know, there is a completely different critique, which is they didn't go all in fast enough, and that led to a prolongation of the war. I think that it is, though, a very difficult political issue. You look at the polls, there aren't a whole lot of Americans who want increased aid, and the numbers who want it decreased keep ticking further and further up.
What I think is interesting, though, and this seems to be a metaphor for a lot of issues of this White House, for the issue of the divide in the Democratic Party over Hamas and over the Palestinians issue and moral clarity, for certain other divides in the Democratic Party, be it on abortion and other things. The White House kind of seems to think it can straddle the divides even inside the Democratic Party. Right. And every time they do that, they lose.
Right, and I think in the Israel situation, it's much worse because that's just a wound right up the middle of the Democratic Party. And the president has recently been trying to temper his rhetoric, and that has not brought the Democratic Party together. It has left the more pro-Israel Democrats and the more pro-Palestinian Democrats equally dissatisfied.
Joe Biden in 2020 ran against Donald Trump. He sort of allowed you to paint whatever he wanted. And in the Senate, he was known for compromise all the time. You think about now how the White House is trying to handle the trans issue, trying to handle abortion, whatever the issue of the day is, how to handle immigration. Is there any thought that if the president is going to continue running for re-election, he needs to find issues that he can take a firm stand on, because they did on Ukraine and are now having to walk it back?
I don't know what those issues would be. I think that's the problem. There are these sort of vexing topics, be it Ukraine, be it Israel, be it all sorts of domestic topics. Where can the common ground be found? That's the danger for the White House, that they don't...
Or is it the president's job to create the common ground?
Yeah, but on what topic, though? That's the thing.
Yeah, well, that's why he has the power of persuasion. Wasn't that the great Richard Neustadt line? It's good to see you, my friend. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below
to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.